Welcome to the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. I'm your host, Scott Knudsen. Thank you so much for watching. I have a very special guest today, Janet Rose, Director of the Montana Center for Horsemanship in Dillion, Montana, and founder of many, many important nonprofits, which I'm so excited to talk about today. So Janet, welcome to the show.
Oh, I've been really looking forward to this so much. You know, anytime you can talk about horses and people and what they can do for each other, I'm on board.
Absolutely. I've been looking forward to it.
So, thank you. Thanks so much. So I'm Director of Development and Communications for the Montana Center for Horsemanship, and it's one of the leading equine education centers in the nation. But then my other passion, if you will, related but different, is that about 11 years ago, I founded the Horsehaven, Montana. It's an equine rescue, adoption, and education organization. And it's very simple what we do. We place retired, abandoned, homeless, neglected horses and mules in permanent homes. And everyone from the Forest Service, when they retire horses and mules, to guest ranches, dude ranches, private ranches, and individuals who can no longer keep an animal or their life changes and they can't afford to take care of that animal, or a ranch that no longer has a use or a need for a particular animal. They contact us and we work with them to place that horse or mule in a permanent adoptive home. One of the things that I did, though, because I had been a filmmaker and a correspondent and knew the film industry, and I saw a lot of films being made about equine issues. And I also realized that part of the reason that horses may become homeless, abandoned, neglected is a lack of education. And so I started a film festival focused completely on equine issues and topics and stories as a way to kind of raise the awareness level of all of these issues and inspire people to get more involved. So it's called Equus International Film Festival. After we launched it, a group established another organization with a similar name. So I stress that it's Equus International Film Festival, and it's an outreach project of Horsehaven, Montana. But I work with the Montana Center for Horsemanship to promote education and natural horsemanship training. And we're starting to do all kinds of programs and conferences and symposiums that, again, promote natural horsemanship education, because the more educated we are about horses, how they think, how they act, what they need, the better we're going to care for them and the better we're going to be as people.
Absolutely. That's so great that you do that. And, you know, I believe so much in the education side, and you're doing that. And with the adoption side, because you can't adopt it if they don't understand. So you have that balance, and that's so great that you do that and started both. And we're going to have all your websites and all your contact information at the end of the show so people can find you. You know, and because I know after they hear the stories and they watch you, they're going to want to get more familiar with your programs and get involved. And they're great sources, not only locally in Montana or statewide in Montana, but international, like you were talking about with the film festival. So it's a big deal. It's a big movement for sure for the industry, and it's a great thing. You can tell I'm passionate about it. So. I appreciate you starting, and you know, we'll do whatever we can to help for sure. So I know today we're going to talk about something that is a huge industry, and it's a packing and outfitting.
Yes.
And you just recently hosted the symposium. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
You bet. I mean, it was so exciting. We had been talking about hosting a packing and outfitting symposium at the Montana Center in Dillion for a long time. And then, of course, with COVID, people couldn't get together. And then, you know, it was just, our world was turned upside down. But I live close to and work with the Forest Service a lot. When I say work, I mean as a, you know, helping them to place their retired animals. I don't work for the Forest Service. And I knew that they had this huge program that so many people don't know about. And the outfitting and packing industry and people who pack and outfit in this region in Montana, in Idaho, and Wyoming, in the West, really.
Right.
It is huge. It's historic. It's gone on for a very long time. So we decided to do a packing and outfitting program at the Montana Center. Because of COVID, we had to really limit the numbers, which was so sad, but we limited it to 50 people. And we asked everyone to wear a mask and bring a chair so they could socially distance inside the arena. And they did. And the Forest Service, which has a huge equine program for packing and outfitting, they do wildlands firefighting, they take care of backcountry trails, they take care of the national forests, and they still use a lot of horses and mules. And so we thought, what a wonderful kind of program for people, because so many people who live in this region are really fascinated by that whole industry. And I mean, it's historic. It goes back many, many decades. And so they brought their famous, I love it, it's the big green trailer that they use to transport their mules and horses. It's about probably 40 to 60 feet long. Huge. Because it has to accommodate something like 15 to 20 mules. And it's dramatic. It's fabulous. They keep it parked up at the 9 Mile Ranger District. It's a historic ranger district in Huson, Montana. It's about 20 miles west of Missoula. And so that's where they have this big program. So they brought over all the mules and horses to the Montana Center for Horsemanship in Dillion. And they basically, you know, they demonstrated how the mules and horses are packed, how they outfit, where they go, what kind of training they get, what kinds of temperaments and minds and personalities they have to have, and it's very specific. And it was just a really, it was just one of those very dramatic, fascinating programs. And when they got all the mules and the one lead horse all packed up, they trotted them across this huge arena. And if you could imagine the sound of those thundering hooves.
Oh, powerful.
And all those packs kind of beating against the mules. And you could tell, I mean, the mules, they were on stage. They were, look at us. And it was just fascinating. And then we had veterinarians, and we had all kinds of other presentations and demonstrations. Right. And that was in early October. It was kind of the last beautiful weather weekend we had, and before COVID got really bad in Montana. And so that was sort of the last face-to-face event that we've had, but our goal is to have a lot more of that come late winter, early spring, when things are a little bit better, hopefully.
Jen, that's so exciting. Once again, you started with education, but then it goes to the adoption, and these are working mules and horses, and they've made their life working. And you can adopt these animals, and every animal, I'm sure, has a great story. And it's so great to keep them involved and let their life be extended by going to a great home or a great place to be adopted. Mm-hmm. And I know more people outside of the region also go to attend this or want to attend this because it is a spectacle for sure.
People from anywhere in the world can come and attend when we have these again. You know, Dillion, Montana is, I don't know if you'd call it a well-kept secret, because it is so breathtakingly beautiful in Dillion. And now you've got more hotels and lodges. You know, the Andrus Hotel is one of the oldest, most historic hotels, I think, in the country. And they just restored it to its old glory, if you will. So it's a beautiful hotel in downtown Dillion, but you've got also a lot of cabins and lodges. And I mean, it's just a spectacular place to come and visit. And as you know, we were planning a conference there this September. We've rescheduled it for next September. But when we have these events, I mean, people can come, and it's such a welcoming community. So people can come, they can stay, and they come to the center. We're in the midst of a really big capital campaign to build classrooms, a veterinary research laboratory, more paddocks and corrals and housing for horses, because if we have more horse housing, if you will, then we can have more horses and mules. And it's an incredible center. I don't think that I've never seen anything like it in the world, where you have classrooms, you have a laboratory, you have conference space,
Right.
you have the horse housing built around this beautiful arena. So everything happens all together. The learning, the training, the teaching, the movement of animals, the demonstrations. I mean, it's an incredible facility. And, you know, even though this is a really tough time for fundraising, I'm still very actively trying to fundraise so I can get the laboratory, you know, with equipment where students can do research. The other thing that happens at the center that I just want to mention is that the Montana Center for Horsemanship is an independent nonprofit, but we partner with the University of Montana Western, which is in Dillion as well.
Right.
And we have the first Bachelor of Science degree in natural horsemanship in the nation. And so you have this amazing educational facility partnering with a university that's less than a mile down the road. And so the collaboration is incredible. The university also has a packing and outfitting program. So for young people who are interested in going into that industry, the Forest Service is frequently hiring from year to year. The outfitting industry is still a big industry in this region. And so young people who are interested in that can go into this program. They train in Dillion, they make the connections and they network, and then they can go out and find jobs. But getting back to the packing and outfitting and the retirement and the adoption. So recently, sometime in the last number of years, the US Forest Service determined that they could donate the retiring horses and mules to a not-for-profit organization.
Very cool.
And because it's the 9 Mile and I, you know, have a horse in Montana, I started working with them more and more and more. And so what happens is when they are retiring a horse or mule or horses and mules, they let me know. I assess the animals in terms of what kind of home would be best for that animal, what kind of person would be a good match for that particular animal. And that's really critical,
Sure.
to match both the temperament, the age, and the ability, because we don't want to put these animals into another working situation. But there are some people who want to do light packing. And so, you know, I posted a picture, we had Jake and John. Jake and John, they're retired mules. Jake and John had been hooked on to one of the Molly mules. Well, the Molly mule was still a good packer. So she got adopted by an individual who likes to do light packing. Then a young couple came along and they said, well, you know, we're starting a family. We love to just do very light packing ourselves. So they adopted Jake and John. And Jake and John are living the greatest life ever. We have others that they just need to be retired to be a companion. Mm-hmm. And so I assess the people. We have an adoption application. And then I assess the horse or mule. And then we match them together. So you try to make a match made in heaven. And so the stories that we get from these people who've adopted, I mean, they're beautiful. But we had one that I have told you about. It was just a beautiful thing. So a man by the name of Smoke Elser.
I was going to ask you to tell a little bit about him. Yeah, he's so interesting.
Smoke Elser, I do want to say he received a Lifetime Achievement Award from the Equus International Film Festival a few years ago, because what he has done for the industry is really amazing. He's one of the most iconic and well-known outfitters probably in the world, and he lives here in Montana. He's about 86 now, and he still does some packing and outfitting. And he had worked, obviously, with a lot of the Forest Service horses and mules for many, 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 many decades. But one of his favorite that he worked with for about 2 decades, I think more than 20 years, was a mule named Palmer. And Palmer came up for adoption. And the Forest Service thought, you know, maybe Palmer would be great with kids. They weren't sure. So I met Palmer and I got to know Palmer. Palmer, kind of pushy, but he's an old fellow, an old mule. And Smoke had told me, you know, I've really got my heart set on adopting Palmer when he's available. I hope you'll consider me. So after assessing Palmer, I said, you know, Palmer's got to go with Smoke and Smoke's got to go with Palmer. They're meant to be. And to see his beaming face, Smoke, when he came to pick up Palmer from the 9 Mile Ranger District, that was a really special day. And so Palmer is living with some other older mules here in the Missoula area. And he got the best home possible. And nobody could have known that animal better than Smoke. But I mean, the stories that Smoke has are absolutely incredible. He's worked with Special Forces. He's worked with the Navy SEALs. He's worked with the State Department. He's worked with the CEO of Boeing. And he's worked with just an average everyday person. And he has trained people to take mules way up into the mountains of Afghanistan and Pakistan. And the stories that he has, they could fill a book or make a movie.
I would think.
So
I would think they could. Just think both of them work though in that field. And now they get to be somewhat retired, you know. And
they are retired. Yes,
yeah.
It's beautiful, but it's so wonderful to be able to see, you know, as people learn about this adoption program, first service program. They, number one, they're all geldings. They don't work with mares, horse mares. Sorry about my cluck. It sounds like a bird, but. Anyway, these horses and mules have incredible temperaments. They've been there, done that, done everything. They'll cross anything. They've been exposed to everything. They're in different conditions, you know, just like people. Some people age better than others, and some horses and mules age better than others. For the public to be able to adopt a horse or mule that the Forest Service has, these are the gems of the gems of the gems. I adopted one. It was funny. I was looking for a home for him and 2 mules, and this had been a volunteer with the Forest Service said, I'd like to adopt these 2 mules and horse. And he knew who they were. And at the last minute, he said, nah, I don't want the horse. He's too old. His name was Stormy, and he was considered the dude horse. So anybody could ride him, and everybody had ridden him. And the Forest Service him, and he's getting arthritic. So if he doesn't get adopted, he might be going to the sale. And for an old horse, the sale usually means slaughter, the canners. And he was black, which I think is a beautiful color of horse. Mm-hmm. He was gaited, and he was sweet. And so when this man said, nah, I don't want him, he's too old. And I thought, oh my gosh, what's going to happen to him? I said, I'll adopt him. Well, that was about 5 years ago. And this horse, it's hard to keep his weight down. He is the sweetest horse in the world. Anybody can ride him. And you'll see some pictures on our pages of him with a little boy. We introduced him to a little boy who had ADHD. He was terrified of horses. He had not really been around them. And with the first day that he met this horse, he just blossomed. He took the horse down the road. He took him out. He got on him and rode him. And he had focus, and his fear went away. And there was something about this horse, even though he's a very, very big horse. And so this horse is doing better than ever. He's moving better than ever. He's got a great mind. He's a wonderful companion to a little neglected horse we rescued. And, you know, we hear these stories over and over and over again. So if you can adopt a horse or mule retired from the Forest Service, and you're not looking for, you know, a heavy duty working animal, you're going to have a wonderul animal.
It seems like everyone has such a great story, and they've been worked, you know, and they've been around so much, and they all have their lives they've lived, and so many stories. That's what I think is so incredible to hear are the stories and the way they bond with these people.
Oh, we have teenagers who, they needed a really safe, reliable horse, for them to learn. And then we have some where, families are just starting out with horses. And these, it's what's really funny with a lot of these horses and mules. So they've never been coddled. They've never had carrots and apples and treats and petting. The Forest Service loves them and, respects them and takes great care of them, but they don't get like a lot of TLC. And so when they first come into our lives, a lot of times they're kind of like, what's a carrot? I don't know what that is. What's this equine senior? I don't know what that is. You want to pet me? And it's not that they're standoffish at all, but they don't know what to make of it. And it's really funny. It's usually within a matter of minutes to hours to a day that they just turn around. I went to assess a horse that's going to be retired next year. And the Forest Service said, oh, Janet, he is the perfect horse for you. He's just the perfect horse for you. So anyway, I went to meet him and kind of assess him. And at first he was like, just kind of looking around and not really connected. And it was a busy, busy day because it was when they brought about 200 horses and mules up to the district where they winter. They all winter together. They come from all districts and they winter on winter range up at and he was one of the horses. So they put him into kind of a corral with a few other horses so that I could meet him and assess him. And so at first he's just kind of looking around and not really connecting. And as I'm stroking him and talking to him and playing with ears, and he was definitely ear shy. And I would say within 15 minutes, this horse connected. He didn't mind having his ears rubbed, and he was there. You know that feeling when that horse connects with you. And I thought, look at that going on. And so that gives you a sense, though, of number one, how incredible these particular animals are, as well as how when they get adopted, they become different animals. I mean, I get emails and letters from people, they love their animal. And so, the biggest message is don't let the idea of a horse being 20 or even 23 or 24 or 25, or we've adopted out mules that are 30, that they definitely could go on for another 10 years. They're healthy and they're strong. So, so that this kind of program is really, really wonderful. And we have an application process because we want to make sure that the person knows what they're getting into and that they can make a commitment and that they have the right knowledge and experience. I mean, the worst thing is to put a more high-strung horse with an absolute beginner or a child. So you want to match up early. And we want to say that there's a commitment. We charge a relatively small adoption fee, and that just goes back into the program. And it's the only way that we can keep our program going. But, donations or the adoption donation fee, because we also want to see that an adopter can make a financial commitment. I don't believe in free horses or mules.
Right.
When you are willing to make a small commitment, financial commitment, then we think you're more ready to make a commitment to that animal.
Right. Well, that definitely will have a friend for life.
So there's a.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. Oh no. So the whole thing is really comprehensive, and it all weaves in together. For example, at the Montana Center for Horsemanship next month, even though we're not doing many programs now because of COVID. Next month, we're hosting the graduation of the Montana Youth Challenge. And the young people who are in the program, they come from challenged backgrounds. And they go through a program of learning, of training, of working. And among the things they do is they do some of the cleaning and some of the horse care at the Montana Center, and they get a little bit of training and teaching, and the students from the university practice on some of the kids in the program to see how they learn and how they understand about horses and all of that. So next month, they have a graduation at the center. If the center didn't exist, we couldn't do that. And so, you know, this is why I look at the expansion of the Montana Center for Horsemanship as being such a critical centerpiece, if you will, of education, of training, of healing, of helping, because through that center, if we can expand it, the classrooms and the research and the horses and all of that, then we can do so many vital programs, like the packing and outfitting program, you know, like our work with the Montana Youth Challenge. We're screening a film virtually called Mustang Saviors about veterans and horses. I'd love to do programs with horses and veterans at the center. And the only way that you can really do those things properly is if you have the facilities.
Right.
And so we're on our way, but I need to raise about another, I'd say $500,000, but that's not really so much in the scheme of things. And so I do want to talk about that because,
sure,
you know, what a lot of people don't always get is the physical can facilitate the programmatic, which facilitates education, more students, more programs. You know, you bring the horses and people together in this beautiful, beautiful place with so many resources around it. You have mountains, you have trails, you have cattle, you have livestock, you have the university, you have so much there. And so if we can bring people together in this really advanced facility, doing the programs is easy. And so, you know, I know you're going to be hopefully participating in a conference that we've rescheduled, you know, for next September with Temple Grandin. I'm really excited for it. You know, for people who don't know, we had planned this national/international conference called Of Horse, Human, and Nature for this September at the center. And then, you know, COVID exploded and we thought the only reasonable thing to do would be to postpone it because people are not traveling. And so we've rescheduled it now for September 9th through the 11th next year. Same place. So Temple Grandin has already said she's on board. I hope you're on board.
I'm definitely on board.
Another one of our,
there.
Yay. The Forest Service is on board. They can't wait. And we'll have all of the award-winning films from Equus International at that conference as well. So we were incorporating it into the conference. So we'll have physical, we'll have horse interactions, we'll have keynotes, we'll have awards, we'll have films, we'll have speakers. It's going to be pretty exciting.
It's going to be amazing. It's once again, it goes back to education and opportunity, and that's what you're providing. And there's so much going on at the center, and it's a beautiful facility. And like I was saying at the beginning, we're going to have pictures and some things on the back of the show, but I'll also have the website so you can go and just visit it. It's a gorgeous facility and doing so much good there. And I'm just so honored to be asked to come back and get to go up there next September. But we're looking forward to it.
Well, we're so honored to have you.
Thank you.
You know, you have so much to impart, you know, because a lot of the students who are going through the natural horsemanship program and who are in the equine studies department, they want to be who you are. They want to do they want to do what you do. And it's so important for young people to understand how to succeed in a very difficult industry.
Right.
You know, it's not just managing a barn. I mean, there's a world of opportunities, but they have to understand and know what they are, how they get there, how they prepare for it. You know, I know you're very involved with AAS.
You just broke up just a hair.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, I can hear you.
You know, rural living, you have.
I do. I'm just hoping mine holds out because I'm in the rural too, you know. But I wouldn't change.
Are we okay now?
Yeah, doing great. Doing great.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, we're looking so forward to it. And just everything that you're doing for the facility and for the industry is so important internationally. And that's what's so exciting. And everybody wants to learn more. And with packing
Right.
outfitting, it's such a cool event. And the people around it are so nice, but it's so vital. There is a necessary mission because of why we do it. But also people are now doing it just recreational because it is such a healthy lifestyle to get out there and go out in the woods and get to experience that.
One of the things that Smoke Elser and a whole team of people had been working on was really working to get more young people on horseback into wilderness. And the only way you get there is by packing and outfitting.
Sure.
And so the packing and outfitting industry is so important on so many levels, because that is, I know when we were talking to some other people and they said, really, packing and outfitting is a big deal. I said, absolutely, because getting on the horses with the packs, with your outfitters, it's the only way that you're going to really probably get deep into the backcountry, to see wilderness, to see our natural lands, to see places that we see images of, but the only way you get there is on horseback, because the horses and mules can take people and what you need to survive, places that is very hard for people to just get on foot.
Right.
And so, in Montana, we're lucky enough to have the Bob Marshall Wilderness.
Incredible.
And as I was joking with some friends, when you have a horse or mule that you can say has been in the Bob, you've got something special there.
Yeah.
And so people come from, you're right, that people come from all over the world to see these places. And so, the work that you do and the work that we're trying to do at the center, it's about promoting the ag industry, farming and ranching.
Absolutely.
People still use horses like crazy.
Absolutely.
And the packing and outfitting industry, it's huge in this region, Montana, Wyoming, Idaho, all of the West and Northwest. And so I think for young people, and anyone, we get calls from people all over the world. I want to do it there, in Montana. I want to do it the real way. I want to learn natural horsemanship the real way. And so I think also to have a center, part of the mission of the Montana Center for Horsemanship is to perpetuate the defining tradition of the American West. It's also to promote natural horsemanship. But the idea of keeping the traditions of the American West alive and thriving, that's America. This is Americana. It's something that everybody should be able to do regardless of ability, because, even if you have a physical challenge, there are ways for you to go on horseback and to go see these magnificent, breathtaking natural areas that are unlike any other places in the world. And so it should be and could be something for everyone to enjoy. Right. And it is our history, in the United States. It is the American Western tradition. And so to have a center, I think, that is based, that is founded on that premise and that mission, and perpetuating it, making it possible for young people, for young people who are underserved in this country, for kids to come from all over the world to learn about this, for people, for veterans, to be able to get on horses and go into the backcountry, to be able to make that possible through scholarships, through programs, that's what I get really passionate about.
Absolutely. I feel the same way. And it's such a great program. And I've told a few people about, we were doing the show today and some younger ones, and they're like, I cannot wait to get an opportunity to go do this. That's what I want to do. And I want to go try and make a living doing something with horses.
Right.
This is so engaging. And then some older people I've talked to said, I always wanted to, I never knew how. Well, this is your how. So we're giving them the answers. And that's what's so great about what you started. That's why I'm so passionate about what you started and what's going on, because so many people want to do it and get to live that life, even for a week, and some want to make a living out of it. So it's great that you give them that opportunity.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you so much
You know,
for being on the show. What were you going to say? I'm
thank
sorry. I didn't
you.
mean to cut you
Oh,
off.
it's been, no, it's been an honor to do this with you, and I thank you so, so much. I think, you know what, there was one thing I was going to say, because it's been such an interesting thing. Since the pandemic began,
Right.
I have gotten more inquiries from people from all walks of life with horses. They want to adopt, they want to learn, they want to be with, they want to know, how can I connect with horses? And so I think, I think what maybe this pandemic has brought out is people yearning for and looking for something deeper and meaningful that may come through horses and horsemanship. So I think it gives a really great opportunity to create more opportunities like that.
I agree 100%. I think it's definitely a silver lining there for sure. I think people are getting to have time to look and maybe realize their dream. And that's so great you're giving that opportunity. So thank you so much for being on the show. It really means a lot. I really appreciate it. I'm really passionate about what you're doing. I'm looking forward to next September being up there with you and everybody in Dillion, Montana. It's going to be a great time.
Well, I thank you so much too, as well. Thank you.
Thank you for being on the show. And thank y'all very much for watching.